Hello and welcome back to the realm of colour. This is part 2 of painting Skaeth's Wild Hunt. I'm probably absolutely butchering that name every time. The Warhammer Underworlds warband. In my attempt to start finishing off projects which I've had partly finished for a while. This video will cover the elf skin, the green armour and purple blades, as well as other purple details. To see how I painted the hair, leather and gold details, please check out part 1. In this video's question, let me know in the comments, what Warhammer character that doesn't already have a model would you like to see released as a miniature? So to start off with, I've already base coated the light skin with Kislev flesh, and I believe I gave it a wash of Riekling flesh shade. This was done quite a few years ago. I'm going to kick this video off with a further shade of slightly watered down Doomball. This will be done in a controlled manner, avoiding washing the entire surface of the skin. This will not only be neater, but easier when we start highlighting. I like to start with the harder to reach areas with my painting. This way we're less likely to get paint on areas that we've already painted before. I then highlight the skin, first with Kislev flesh. I start focusing on lighter areas of the skin, covering about 50% of it. I imagine a light source coming from above, so that's where the areas will be lighter. I then add Vallejo model colour ice yellow to the Kislev flesh for the second highlight, applied much like the first highlight but covering less area. And then finally I do a final highlight of Screaming Skull. This is done more of a spot highlight where reflections on the skin will be the lightest. Now on to the next miniature on the darkest skin. I'll start with a base coat of Rhinox hide, and then layer Doomball brown, keeping the darker brown shown in the recesses. Once the first layer is done, I do a first highlight of Scrag brown, applied in the same way as the pale skin. And then to finish this skin off, I add an equal mix of Scrag brown and ice yellow. My goal isn't a competition level finish, but more for gaming, so it won't be as smooth or as many layers as a more competitive style. The highlights end up a bit strong on this, so I finished the skin with a glaze of Rhinox hide just to smooth it out a little bit. Now with the skin done, I move on to the armour, starting with base coat of Rhinox hide, followed by a layer of Caliban green. This is painted carefully, leaving the dark brown in the deepest recesses. and then 2 highlight stages to follow. First with Warpstone Green, covering about 50%. And then final highlights are done with Moot Green. Now onto my most favourite part of the painting is the shiny looking blade, which I base coated with Skaeth 75 Sunset Purple. A couple of coats created a strong base, to which I then shaded with Incubi Darkness. This was done in a few patches. It's quite hard to explain, so it's easier to see it. And then highlight the opposite parts in Genestealer Purple. Build this up in thin layers to create a smooth blend. I then created a glaze using the Sunset Purple to blend in the transitions a bit. And then for some final highlights, I mixed 75% Dechala Lilac with 25% Ice Yellow. And boom, the sword is finished. If this was for a competition, I pushed the highlights up to white, but for a gaming piece, I think this looks great. Now, aside from the bases, all that's left to do is finish off the rest of the miniatures, most of which is covered in the first part of this series, so we'll return once that is done. And there we go, once again, apart from the bases, all 5 members of the warband are done now. Keep an eye out next week for the last part of this series, and I hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you have, please drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Until next time everyone, goodbye!